Well, good evening. Glad you could join us here on TV47 Weekend. My name is Musa Salah. Here are some of the top stories making headlines tonight. Tonight, Kiamba MP Paul Koinange laid to rest at his Kiambu home amid strict COVID-19 prevention protocols. Plus, government's ban on private COVID-19 vaccines degenerates into a political spat between Deputy President William Ruto's allies and the state. Plus, all foreigners originating from the UK to undergo a mandatory 14-day quarantine upon arrival in Kenya, according to a new directive over UK's blacklisting Kenya over COVID-19 infections. And Kenya secures a 255 billion shilling loan from the IMF, even as KRA surpasses revenue collection for the fourth month in a row. Welcome to the broadcast. Anne Wairimu is our sign language interpreter. TV47 Weekend begins right now. The closure of 5 counties by President Uhuru Kenyatta has sparked mixed reactions among Kenyans, some even taking it to the streets to demonstrate the move, which they say is negatively impacting their lives and livelihoods. However, 1 week since the order took effect, how is the infection burden in the 5 counties looking so far? Have the cases spiked or reduced? Zainab Mohammed has the answers.
1 week after President Uhuru Kenyatta ordered a partial lockdown on 5 counties due to a surge in COVID-19 numbers in the country, the move has elicited mixed reactions among Kenyans, many calling on the government to review the matter. However, statistics from the Ministry of Health shows the closure might be working after all, as the total number of infections in 4 out of the 5 counties indicate a decrease after 1 week of lockdown. In the country's epicenter, Nairobi, over 1,000 cases less have been recorded since the closure, with the county recording 4,290 cases after the closure, vis-a-vis the 5,888 cases recorded before closure. In Machakos County, 457 cases were recorded 1 week before closure and 323 recorded 1 week after closure. The same trend being witnessed in Kiambu and Nakuru counties, where the 2 counties recorded a total of 652 cases and 901 cases before closure, with 652 and 216 cases after closure respectively. 1 county, however, seems to have recorded a slight increase in the number of COVID-19 cases recorded after the closure, Kajiado County. Data from the ministry showing Kajiado County recorded a total of 187 cases 1 week before closure and about 216 cases after the closure. And in the country's daily statistics, in the last 24 hours, Kenya has recorded a total of 1,184 cases, 220 recoveries, and 20 COVID-19 related deaths. Zainab Mohammed, TV47.
Now, following the move by the UK government to place Kenya on the red list and ban entry of Kenyans into the UK beginning next week, the government of Kenya struck back by imposing a number of new regulations regarding the entry of UK citizens into the country. Starting 9th of April, all passengers originating from or transiting through UK airports will now be required to go through a mandatory 14-day long isolation at a government-designated facility upon entry into Kenya and at their own cost. Further, while in isolation, the persons will be subjected to 2 PCR COVID-19 tests on day 2 and day 8 of their quarantine, also at their own cost. However, there are exemptions to these new restrictions, including Kenyan national resident residing in the United Kingdom or transiting through United Kingdom airports, and cargo flights between the 2 countries, which are set to continue. Now, Kenya has secured a 255 billion shilling loan from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, money that the Treasury CS Ukur Yatani says it is targeted at stabilizing the economy and supporting Kenya's recovery and inclusive growth plan. On the flip side, Kenya Revenue Authority has recorded the highest revenue performance rate since the beginning of the financial year 2020-2021. KRA collected 144.6 billion shillings in the month of March, surpassing the revenue target. Here is Ruth Mulandi with that story.
The Department of Treasury, through Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani, has confirmed securing a loan of 255.9 billion shillings from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, money that the government says is stretched. A 38-month program targeted at stabilizing the economy and supporting Kenya's recovery and inclusive growth plan. The loan has a longer repayment period and mainly meant to help implement medium-term structural reforms. In this case, the government has drawn a plan with 4 key deliverables that the funds from the IMF will cover, including scaling up the COVID-19 response and reducing debt vulnerabilities. The loan is coming amid a public outcry over Kenya's unstable appetite for loans. Before the new IMF loan, the national debt was at 6.7 trillion shillings. That figure is estimated to reach 7.7 trillion shillings by June this year. The new IMF loan is the second one in less than a year. In May last year, the IMF advanced Kenya a loan facility of 80.6 billion shillings to anchor the country's response to vulnerabilities exposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The first tranche, which is 33 billion shillings of the new IMF loan, is expected to be released anytime now. By June this year, Kenya will have received 79 billion shillings of the new loan. At the same time, the taxman has surpassed the revenue targets for the month of March, the 4th month in a row that KRA has posted an improved and above target performance since December 2020. KRA collected 144.6 billion shillings in the month of March compared to 127.7 billion shillings in February. In a statement to newsrooms, KRA attributed the great performance to the sustained implementation of compliance efforts, revenue enhancement initiatives, and improved service delivery to the taxpayers. Ruth Mulandi, TV47.
Thank you, Ruth Mulandi. Now, confusion is deepening over the presence, administration, and now the ban of the Russian Sputnik COVID-19 vaccine in Kenya. A week ago, the Ministry of Health approved it. Barely a week later, it banned it indefinitely. This as some developed countries the world over deem it safe, following its 92% efficacy level. Our very own Grace Josephine puts the COVID-19 vaccine standoff into perspective.
On Friday, Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe banned the sale of the Russian COVID-19 vaccine Sputnik 5. According to Kagwe, the vaccine is not cleared by the World Health Organization nor by the Kenya Pharmacy and Poisons Board. The ban raised questions about Kenya's medical regulatory framework. Barely a week ago, the Kenya Pharmacy and Poisons Board, under the Kagwe-led ministry, confirmed its approval of the Sputnik 5 vaccine. At the time, Kenya was the 10th African nation to do so.
Is that if a vaccine has not been cleared by the World Health Organization, it will not be used in Kenya, whether it is being used in other countries or not.
On Wednesday, Health Principal Secretary Susan Muchache disclosed the government's target of vaccinating more than 50,000 people a day. So far, slightly over 200,000 Kenyans have received the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine countrywide. The second dose will depend on India's decision after it put a temporary hold on all its major exports of the AstraZeneca vaccine. This as the vaccine doses are expected to be only 6 to 8 weeks apart.
No vaccine has been compared against another. And so even as we stand here today, we cannot tell you that Sputnik is better than Astra or any other way around.
It is not clear what will happen to the consignment of the Sputnik 5 vaccine already in the country. President Uhuru Kenyatta's government banned the Sputnik 5 vaccine just days after Deputy President William Ruto received the job. His allies taking to social media to protest the ban of private vaccines, terming it an onslaught of the Deputy President. Grace Josephine, TV47.
Now, the late Kiambaa Member of Parliament, Paul Koinange, was today laid to rest in his rural home in Kiambaa, Kiambu County. The private burial service at his home was attended by few mourners in line with the anti-COVID-19 guidelines. Koinange succumbed to COVID-19 on Wednesday. The late Kiambaa Member of Parliament Paul Koinange's last journey began at the St. John's Church in Kiambaa at around 11 in the morning before his body was taken to his rural home for a private burial service. A service that was attended by only close family members and a few friends and colleagues, and which was conducted under strict COVID-19 guidelines. Grief engulfed the service, his friends and family shedding tears of disbelief as his body was lowered into his grave. Several leaders, including Kiambu Governor James Nyoro and National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi, attended the service. Koinange was eulogized as a humble, peace-loving leader who committed his life to a secure, united Kenya.
In anything that needed to be done for the community, he wanted to be the chair, so that he can see it done. But that chair was not coming with remuneration. He just wanted to do it philanthropically, free.
And he's a great man, a humble human being, who is a peacemaker, who always wanted to see people working together. He really wanted to see one Kenya.
He lived with a freedom that I have learned to call the freedom of simplicity.
Koinange will be remembered for founding the National Prayer Breakfast, a national get-together which he used to settle the differences between some of the most fierce political foes in the country.
How is it that Parliament cannot therefore sponsor on a permanent basis an event as important as a prayer breakfast? And to date, and I believe even when we are long gone, like Paul has left us, what we started with Paul in 2015 will live within our parliamentary fraternity forever.
Koinange succumbed to COVID-19 on Wednesday at a Nairobi hospital after close to a month in the ICU. May his soul rest in peace. Now, difficulty in getting and extending student visas and the high cost of living are some of the challenges foreign students in institutions of higher learning in Kenya are grappling with. This is according to a survey done by the Center for Political and Social Research, which was looking at the state of international students in Kenya.
UNESCO estimates puts South Africa as the top destination for international students in Africa, with about 45,100 students compared to Kenya's over 4,700 students. This figure has been deemed low for the country, and now universities have been urged to be aggressive in attracting foreign students who have a potential of bringing in revenue to the country.
You know, many people go to Europe and America. They are given scholarships. They don't know there is a catch somewhere. If somebody gave you a scholarship to go somewhere, are you not going to spend money in that country for the 5 years you are there? Yes, you'll spend money. So I give you a scholarship or a partial scholarship so that instead of paying maybe 1 million Kenya shillings, we say pay 400,000. You rush, you are an African. But you are going to stay in London. You'll buy their eggs for breakfast. The farmers are happy.
In a survey done by the Center for Political and Social Research, there are a number of ways international students get to learn of Kenyan universities. Media tops the list, followed by their parents. How can Kenya attract and retain foreign students in its institutions of higher learning?
A university is a place where we have many conferences going on. Okay? You just came for a conference and then you see a desk. Say, by the way, can I bring Jane, my daughter, here? Then you ask them. Then you find it so easy. When you go back to your country, people come to Nairobi here for conferences. Big conference at KICC. Have you seen a university putting a desk there? To tell the world, okay, people have come for, what was that thing of Kisa Kitui called? Whatever it was called. I'm an old man. There's a big conference, 1 week going on in KICC. Why can't I see universities putting their desk? Because these people want to know, does Kenya have space for international students? How do they treat them? How easy is it?
The CPS research survey also outlined major challenges international students face while studying in Kenya, and they are difficulty in getting and extending visa, high cost of living, reduced scholarship offers, poor accommodation facilities, language barrier, limited freedom of movement, lack of support from host university, discrimination, and erratic climatic conditions.
Although the school is trying to mitigate and provide accommodation, but you can find that you don't like the conditions, so you try to opt out. And being in the city, the accommodation is quite expensive. Yeah. And then on the issue of student pass, they actually take long to process. You can even apply and then take like 3 months before they give you the student pass. And of course, the visa extension, they're also a problem.
Our borders are porous, allowing all manner of crooks to come in. But we cannot allow a student who wants to come in a clean, decent way. We facilitated them.
One of the recommendations from the research to Kenyan universities is that they should consider marketing their programs beyond East Africa to the rest of Africa and the world, as well as upgrade their curricula to international standards. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.
Well, it's time to take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with more. Remember, you can follow this live broadcast on www.tv47.co.ke.
As the country gears up for possible BBI referendum and 2022 general elections.
As the salvos enter too familiar territory,
William Ruto will serve his 5 years term as the deputy president.
Pundits Night is here to give you powerful, thought-provoking political commentaries.
The mountain can produce a country.
Give Moses Kuria a chance to respond. Let me ask you this. Are you not taking advantage of first my situation?
You talk about the people with the ultimate power.
Kikuyus will vote for somebody from outside their community to be the next president of this country.
We talk to the newsmakers, the opinion shapers, and the pundits.
Fair enough. I believe
that part so that as we dissect everything you need to know to make an informed decision. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates.
The position of the Prime Minister will go to a party with the most elected members.
I clearly know that neither Raila nor Ruto are in the work plan on the roadmap for transition as far as the government is concerned.
Informative health discussions, business, farming, Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs, and music bands.
Back to the seasons of my youth.
Every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Did you know that your business keeps our economy running?
You need the skill, not the papers.
Always tell yourselves, one day at a time. You can't do everything under one roof.
Over time, I've had to realize that good things take time.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Before the markets open, farmers begin their day each
Welcome back. You're watching TV47 Weekend. Now, as farmers in North Rift region prepare their farms for planting season, a huge percentage of them are complaining of high cost of seeds and fertilizers. They are now appealing to the government to review the prices of the very crucial farm inputs in order to reduce the cost of production. Our reporter Boniface Barasa reports.
These are tens of farmers preparing their farms. Some of them have already done dry planting, despite the skyrocketing cost of farm inputs, attributed to the rise in the price of petroleum products.
Iko shilingi 3,200 na pali pangine 3,300. Sasa sisi tumekosa mkufu ya kupata mbolea, kwa sababu mbolea iko juu sana.
Mfuko moja wa DAP ulikuwa unaenda kwa shilingi 3,400. Ni sababu ya gharama ya mafuta. Kwa hivyo serikali ingetafuta njia ya mwafaka ya kuweza kupunguza kwa njia yote ile gharama ya uzalishaji wa mafuta, basi kila mwananchi anaweza kufaidika.
While farmers are complaining, Trans Nzoia County government has distributed fertilizer to widows and the elderly. However, these farmers are also appealing for the supply of seeds.
Mbolea peke yake hawezi panda peke yake. Wangekuwa wanapanda, wanawapea mbolea na mbegu. Hata kama ni kidogo wanaenda wanaweza panda.
Bei ya mbegu imepanda na hatuna uwezo, vile corona ilianza, hatuna uwezo, hatuna bali tunaenda kazi tupate, hatuna kazi zote zilifungwa.
The rise in the cost of production is a threat to Jubilee government Big Four agenda, especially the nutrition and food security pillar.
The moment mafuta inapanda, wakulima wanaumia. Na hivyo kwanza hizo agenda 4 za serikali kuu, ni kama serikali imesahau hizo agenda. Una moja ambayo ni food security. Sasa naomba serikali hii mwezi unaofuata tafadhali waweze kupunguza hiyo mafuta ili wakulima waweze kupata nafuu kwa upande wa wakulima na pia pembejeo za kusaidia wakulima.
Additionally, the provincial administration is also concerned that the country's security is threatened by lack of food. Sami Haemba is Nabiso Allocation Assistant Chief.
Ukosefu wa chakula ni threat kubwa sana kwa usalama wetu. Kwa vile kama mtu ana chakula, mtu ataenda kuiba. Wizi sana inakuja kwa area kwa ili mtu ana chakula sana, kumbuka kwamba wacha nini bomoe store ya mtu fulani nipate chakula, ama nipate mahindi, ama wacha nini niibe ng'ombe mtu fulani mahali fulani ili niweze kuuza ng'ombe nipate pesa ya kula chakula.
Currently a 50 kg bag of fertilizer is retailing at 3,400 shillings, and a farmer will have to part with not less than 3,500 shillings to till 1 acre of land using a tractor. Boniface Barasa, TV47, Trans Nzoia County.
It was marked the newly built Ruiru Market in Kiambu County for the better part of the day as traders protested a move by Kiambu County government to demolish their stalls adjacent to the new market. Daniel Masiza has the details.
What started off as a peaceful demonstration by hawkers degenerated into a full-blown battle between them and traders who had been allocated stalls within the market, forcing county security officers to intervene. The hawkers claim unfair treatment regarding the allocation of stalls in newly built market, having been promised otherwise.
Lakini sahi sina mahali ya kutandika. Nikitandika mzigo watu wa soko wanakuja wanaharibu mali yetu. Mimi sina mahali hata moja kutandika.
Kwa nini hawatuonyeshi twende tukae mahali pamoja tuuzie pale kuliko kukuja kutufukuza na kuharibu vitu zetu? Alafu wanakuja badala ya kutuambia tutoke pole na vitu zetu, wanazikanyaka, zingine wanaweka koloria kaza wanaenda na hizo huko.
Juu tunafaa kila mtu apate pahali yake. Kama hiyo soko ni dogo, serikali ijue, ama ni soko ingine watajengea watu, sote tutoshee huko. Juu hakuna haja ati kukuja soko kufungua, tunakuja tunafurugwa. Sasa tutafanya nini? Sasa hatuna mahali ya kuenda.
Joseph Kahiga, who is the chairman of the Hawkers Association in Ruiru Market, said over 3,000 hawkers missed allocation inside the market, blaming Kiambu Governor James Nyoro for what he termed failure to address their concerns.
So the problem is, baada ya kubambiwa ni traders 1,300 wanajengewa soko, baadaye walijengewa watu 600 peke yake, na baadaye sasa tukakuwa like lazima tucommunicate tujue sababu spaces zimekuwa 600 peke yake na watu ni zaidi ya watu 3,500 nje na ndani. nani? The rest itakuwa watahandoliwa namna gani? Baadaye tumejaribu kuongea na governor, every time tunaongeanga anatuambia yes, solution ni lazima watu waondoke nje. Hananga solution yoyote. Every time anasemanga solution watu tu kuondoka nje. Tumejaribu kuongea na wanasiasa wote. Hakuna hata mmoja, wote wanasemanga ati Hoka hananga right.
The contentious market is part of several World Bank funded projects in the county aimed at improving standards of living among citizens. Daniel Masiza, TV47.
Quite a confrontation there. Thank you, Daniel Masiza. Now, the United Democratic Alliance, UDA, has today launched a new member registration exercise in Bungoma County in a bid to grow grassroots representation. UDA officials say they are targeting 300,000 members in the new drive. Mike Agwongo has the details.
Speaking during the launching of exercise in Bungoma Town, the UDA leaders led by Bungoma County Acting Chairman Engineer Michael Malomba said the party is widely accepted in the county and they aim at registering over 300,000 new members.
Target ya registration ya Bungoma County, we are targeting at least 300,000 members. Na ni kazi ngumu, but I know our members wako up to the task.
Tumeanzisha chama kinaenda kuingia mashinani. Tunaambia vijana wetu ambao walikuwa wanatafuta kazi, chama ambacho kinakitambulisha na vijana ndio hiki chama. Chisajili mapema, tumia hiyo smartphone yako, chisajili uwe mwanachama.
They maintained that they will traverse all 9 constituencies before narrowing down to the 45 wards in order to register the party's grassroots representatives.
Hizi form zitumwe kwa registrar of political parties so that aweze kumigrate jina langu kutoka kwa Jubilee for example ama ODM iletwe kwa hii chama mpya. Baada ya hiyo wataturudishia majina ambayo yamepita hiyo mtihani. Tukishapata hiyo majina tutatengeneza cards za kila member ambazo zitakuwa smart cards so that every member has a smart card.
Bungoma County gubernatorial hopeful Sophie Nekoye Waliaula called on women to come out and vie for the elective positions available in a bid to cement women leadership in the county.
Ukiangalia the leadership of this county, the leadership of this party, kuanzia chini kwenda hadi juu, ni leadership ambayo ina embrace women. Na wanawake mjitokeze bila uoga wowote. Hii ni chama ya kila mtu including the women.
Despite UDA failing to secure victory in the Kabuchai by-election last month, the leaders say the MPs associated with the outfit during the polls are still solidly in the party. For TV47 from Bungoma, I'm Mike Kagwango.
Evans Kakai. Well, it's time to take another short commercial break, but we'll be back with more. Stay tuned.
As the country gears up for possible BBI referendum and 2022 general elections.
As the salvos enter too familiar territory,
William Ruto will serve his 5 years term as the deputy president.
Pundits Night is here to give you powerful, thought-provoking political commentaries.
The mountain can produce a country.
Give Moses Kuria a chance to respond. Let me ask you this. Are you not taking advantage of first my situation?
You talk about the people with the ultimate power.
Kikuyus will vote for somebody from outside their community to be the next president of this country.
We talk to the newsmakers, the opinion shapers, and the pundits.
Fair enough. I believe
that part so that we dissect everything you need to know to make an informed decision. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates.
The position of the Prime Minister will go to a party with the most elected members.
I clearly know that neither Raila nor Ruto are in the work plan on the roadmap for transition as far as the government is concerned.
Informative health discussions, business, farming, Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs, and music bands.
Back to the seasons of my youth.
Every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Did you know that your business keeps our economy running?
You need the skill, not the papers.
always tell yourselves, one day at a time. You can't do everything under one roof.
Over time, I've had to realize that good things take time.
The Grind, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Before the markets open, farmers begin their day, each with the desire to produce the best. But how can they increase the numbers, maintain the standards,
Aitoi ile garlic inafaa itoi, that standard garlic.
reduce the cost,
We spread our risk.
and yet remain the best? Kilimo Diaries, every Sunday when the clock hits 7:30 p.m. Cut, chop, mix, steam, grill.
Welcome back. You're watching TV 47 Weekend. In 2020, 167 people disappeared while in police custody. In 2019, 144 people had been killed in police custody. The numbers that keep growing each year, according to Silent Voice, is alarming, with little action taken by Police Oversight Authority to render justice to the kins of the victims. Tonight on our special report, our reporter Mariam Mwacharo takes a look at the brutal, deadly service.
It's no longer breaking news on our screens. It is now a custom that has left many crying in agony. A song we are very much familiar with, a tune that for years has now become a norm, a dreadful norm in the system. To the victims, it is a wound that never heals. A painful journey of a tale so heartbreaking and memories so dreadful. These are the tales that victims of families who have lost their loved ones in the hands of the police want so much to forget. However, with every mention and every case, they reckon the glaring injustice that befell them.
Haya, nitafanya nini mimi? Na hata wanangu hawana vibarua. Ni nani atanisaidia?
Imagine losing a family member not through death, but abduction by security agencies to never return with no reason given. Even worse, some get killed or injured in the hands of the police without any explanation offered. It is a reality that has befallen many families at the coast region, with statistics stating that in every 2 weeks, a person is either killed or injured by the police in the country, and the number is rising. Scary, but true. It was the evening of the 5th of December 2017. Gathoni was in hospital tending to her newborn when she got a call. This was no ordinary congratulatory call for her baby's birth. No. This devastating call would change hers and her baby's life forever.
Mi hata sikukuwa kwa nyumba, nilikuwa kwa ward na mtoto. Kitu saa 5 usiku nikapigiwa simu na maneiba, wakanifahamisha bwanangu ameuliwa.
The news of her husband's death struck her deep, knowing not who to turn to for answers. She found her husband with 16 stab wounds and intestines hanging out of his body in a pool of blood. When she asked for a postmortem,
na wakakataa. Sasa tulizika tu hivyo bila postmortem, bila kujua ni nini imemuua, but alikuwa na mashimo 16. Watu wanafanya kwa mochari, mmoja alinishika mkono akaniweka hapo kando akaniambia Vitu kama hizi hufai kufuatilia saa kama hizi, itakuweka mashakani na ambapo unaweza kufa uache watoto wako.
Veronica explained that her husband had left the hospital to get her some supplies and airtime when he met his fate. Death in the hands of the police. Lucy Wamboi could not calm her tears and talk to us about her family's ordeal when her husband was murdered by police without the family receiving any cause to such cruelty. At the time of his death, she was 8 months pregnant. Veronica and Lucy's cases are from Nairobi County. Here in Mombasa, the situation is not any better. Majority of cases are police brutality, forced disappearances, or outright murder, with the Muslim community being the most affected in the area. One such case that continues to soar the winds in whispers among the residents of Mombasa is that of Husni Mbarak. Mbarak was abducted by people who claimed to be police officers and disappeared completely from the face of the earth since then. 3 years down the line, Husni's parents remember that fateful afternoon like yesterday and continue to search for their son, hoping that wherever he may be, he is still alive and shall one day return to them. Husni was abducted on his way back to work after buying some meat for his dogs at the garage. His brother recounts the harrowing ordeal.
Baada kama hivi 20 minutes nikasikia fujo kama nafanya kazi niko ndani. Sasa mimi sikudharau ile kelele kama naisikia yapigo. Sasa nikitoka hivi nje ndo kana mwana ndugu yangu jamaa washindana naye wamburuta watakumtia kwenye gari chakula kile nyama nini zikamaika chini. Tukashindana nao tukamtia na gari na lazima walipofunga ule mlango kwa bado mkono wake uko nje. Walibana ule mlango ukafungika lakini mkono bado kwa uko nje. Basi kuanzia hiyo siku sijawahi sikia tena sauti ya ndugu yangu wala sijawahi kumwona tena.
Khalid, Husni's brother, called his parents who upon arrival did not find a trace of their son nor the car in which he was bundled into.
It is at this place where Husni was captured that fateful day, and the CCTV from Sapphire Hotel believed to have captured the incident, with the video never to be found again. Mark you, it is just a few meters from where Husni and his father used to work at that garage.
And the unending search for Husni started.
Tukatoka hapo, tukaenda paka polisi ya Lighthouse. Tukaingia hapo, tukatafuta jina la mtoto, hatukupata. Tukaenda tena polisi nyingine, hatukupata. Tukaenda tena, hatukumuona. Yaani nahisi mtoto wangu naumia, mimi ni mama. Hata leo ukiniona mimi ni mzima, pia nashukuru. Lakini nilikokosa yote mimi kilio, moyo, pressure, sukari imenipanda. Yaani hata nikikaa panda na nyumba naona nyumba iko na haraka. Baba ni hivyo enda mbio, mara Nairobi, mara wapi, kiambwa huku. Yaani wakati wake yeye hata kulikuwa kazi hafanyi, ni kwenda mbio tu kwa ajili ya mtoto wetu. Kulala hatulali.
Ani mpaka sasa hii ni hivyo tu, ilobaki ni kuomba Mungu tu. Iko siku inshallah Mwenyezi Mungu atamrudisha.
Many a time, police explain such captures as stemming from evidence of signs of extremism or terrorism. But the baffling question in the minds of the parents of the victims is, of what use are the chapters of the Constitution over such matters if the law doesn't protect the so-called suspects? Husni's father delved into his son's search. He tells us that he not only met police officers but spoke to the DCI, George Kinoti, officials from ATPU, and even met the Director of Public Prosecutions, Nurdin Haji. All these encounters bearing no fruits nor answers to any questions. In fact, He says that upon meeting DCI George Kinoti, he was perplexed to learn that his office was unaware of Husni's case. He then left on a promise that the matter shall be looked into. Husni's father doesn't forget to acknowledge the efforts of Mvita Member of Parliament to get answers for his family in Parliament. The MP, Abdul Samad Sharif Nasser, however, says the system is too complicated and takes too long, with the relevant authorities seeming to rather bury their heads in the sand than tackle the matter head-on.
Kila siku nalia ya kuwa the current system that we have, we cannot be able to get answers instantly. Hatuwezi kupata majibu pale kwa pale. Na ni rahisi sana serikali kuweza kukeuka, kuhepa na kuweza kutumia kila hikma.
In the search for his son, Husni's father met all manner of con artists. Some, he says, well known by high-ranking persons in the justice system.
Niko na shida, mimi mwezi wa Ramadhani nalia, kimsha mtu aje kufuata, kupigia simu, Baraka uko wapi? Naambia mimi niko msikitini hapa. Ukitoka msikitini tuonane, na jambo muhimu kuhusu kijana wako. Nikapata hisia kwa kama kijana wangu ameonekana ama kuna watu fulani wanajua, pengine kijana wangu atarudi. Kashindwa hata kwenda nyumbani kufuturu, nikamfuata jamaa, nikamfuata. Akaniambia wewe kijana wako amechukuliwa. Kwa nini hukuniambia? Akaniambia basi mimi ndiye naregesha vijana. Kama vijana wamechukuliwa, mimi wakubwa wote ni rafiki zangu na una njia tutatumia tukawaregesha. Lakini mpaka kutumike pesa.
He traveled to Nairobi with this gentleman, whose name we shall not reveal due to security reasons, and met with various officials in the police unit and even the office of the DCI, among others. All the while, he thought he would give leads to where his son might be.
Headquarters DCI, tukatoka DCI, tukaenda ITPU, tukatoka ITPU, tukaenda Halingam, yani nimezunguka kwa wakubwa wote, maofisi makubwa. Anipi chance ya kuingia kule, wao niruhusiwe kuingia na nini, shazunguka na kubwa. Kwa hivyo mtoto yuko na ataachwa. Kwa hivyo ni kila mara tunaingia leta 50,000 tupate mkubwa uweze ongea tu hivi. Ikabidi sasa mimi niko na hope kwa mambo yatakuwa ni kweli. Na jamaa kweli anajua kweli, polisi anaikaribishwa ndani. Anaingia hapa ndani, anazungumza na wakubwa. Natoa pesa, mara atakaa hapa 100,000, mara atakaa hapa 80,000, hapa ataka 50,000. Huko nalipa hoteli, taxi nenda huku, rudi huku, nenda wajua Nairobi vile. Nimetumia pesa nyingi sana. Pesa zangu zote paka zikaisha, paka nikauza mpaka gari yangu natumia, nikaiuza pia, nikawa natembea na mguu kwa ajili mtoto arudi. Lakini kumbe jamaa ni conman.
It's now 1 year since the coronavirus pandemic hit the country. We all remember when residents of Mombasa received a thrashing from police while queuing at the ferry to beat the then 7 p.m. curfew. Suleiman, a widow of 5 children, lost her husband, who was mercilessly beaten by police for being out of his house a few minutes past the 7 p.m. curfew after taking a stranded woman in labor to hospital on his boda.
Sasa hiyo siku ya Ijumaa bwanangu akatoka, akaenda zake mihangaikoni kwake. Huko alipokwenda akapata mama mjamzito, alikuwa na mwana tumbo. Akambeba yule mwanamke akampeleka hospitalini ili kujifungua. Alipokuwa yuko kwa pikipiki yeye na abiria, akapigwa gongo mkono wake wa kulia. Alipopigwa gongo akaluzi control, akaanguka. Na alipoanguka maaskari wakajitokeza na wakaanza kumpiga. Walimpiga bwanangu mpaka akawa kama amezimia.
When he regained consciousness, he hopped onto his bike and rode home despite being in pain. Upon arrival, he fell at his house's entrance.
Nikaja nikamuuliza, una nini? Akaniambia mimi nimeuliwa. Kamuuliza umeuliwa na nani? Akasema mimi nimepigwa na maaskari.
It is at this point that decided to take her husband to the nearest hospital. Upon arrival, his condition was so dire that he was given a referral for an urgent surgical procedure. A procedure that never was, since doctors are required to fill out endless reports when a family is seeking to take the police to court over injustices perpetrated by the police unit. At 4 a.m. in the morning, Ummu's husband passed on. The doctor's report now taking a different turn, pronouncing his death as resulting from the wounds inflicted by the police the previous night.
Kwa tumbo alikuwa ameumia. Hata huko nje alikuwa nimeona kama kuna vidonda. Kwa sababu pale kweli alikuwa alisema sijui anasikia kama kitu maji, wameona kama maji lakini ilikuwa si maji, ilikuwa ni damu ile. Inatoka ndani kwa ndani.
His motorcycle was taken into police custody pending investigations while the family prepared for his burial. The boda, which was the main source of income for the family, has never been returned since. 1 year down the line and counting.
Kwa sababu mimi nimeachwa sahi, nimeachwa na watoto 5. Nimeachwa na watoto 5 ambaye amemaliza masomo ni mmoja na alikuwa hajamaliza.
Suleiman is not the only one still in tears and agony over police brutality. Many have come to conclude that the Kenyan police give terror more than a helping hand to the civilians. Many lament that court cases take them on endless cycles with incessant delays until the families are tired and decide to let go.
Unasikia tu kesi imeshatoka IDPP, kesi imerudi IPOA.
Hiyo IPOA sisi tulienda kule. Walipofika akasema hiyo kesi ilienda Nairobi, ikatoka Nairobi ikakuja Mombasa. Alafu sasa hii tuliwapigia ile last week, wakasema kama imetoka Nairobi tena, imeenda Nairobi, wanangoja ikirudi Mombasa, tunaenda kotini.
A family robbed of their father. A sister crying for her brother. A wife in endless grief and agony for the loss of her husband. This is the hole the police service and the justice system has thrust its trusting citizens, knowing not whether to feel patriotic or haunted by the words from our glorious national anthem. Now, after the launch of the Missing Voices Report 2020 on police brutality and killings, human rights organizations have one request:
the implementation of the National Coroners Act and the Prevention of Torture Act. We demand the establishment of a National Commission of Inquiry into violations by security agents. We demand the reparation of victims and families of extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances. We demand a public pronouncement by the Inspector General of Police and the Interior Cabinet Secretary condemning police excesses.
Despite the families of victims of police brutality, disappearances and killings continuing to live in agony and grief, they are still hopeful of the same system giving them the justice they so much desire and the culprits brought to book.
Sisi tunachoomba ndugu yetu tu atuletee kwa usalama. Mwenyezi Mungu kote alipo amlinde, ampe moyo, siku inshallah atarudi zake nyumbani.
According to the Missing Voice Report 2020, 144 cases of police killings were recorded in 2019. Last year, 167 people were killed or disappeared in police custody. These are not just faces. These are not just numbers. This is somebody's mother, somebody's brother, somebody's wife, and somebody's husband, crying for justice for what the police gave them as more terror than service they required as citizens. And the curfew now being 1 year since it was imposed, proving more limiting than regulating. Mariam Wacharo, TV47, Mombasa County.
Well, let's now take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. And the national men's rugby sevens team Shujaa settled for a third place finish at the Invitational Dubai Sevens.
As the country gears up for possible BBI referendum and 2022 general elections.
As the Salvos enter too familiar territory.
William Ruto will serve his 5 years term as the deputy president.
Pundits Night is here to give you powerful, thought-provoking political commentaries.
The mountain can produce a country.
Give Moses Kuria a chance to respond. Let me ask you this. Are you not taking advantage of first my situation?
You talk about the people with the ultimate power. Kikuyus will vote for somebody from outside their community to be the next president of this country.
We talk to the newsmakers, the opinion shapers, and the pundits.
Fair enough. I believe
that part so that I don't
As we dissect everything you need to know to make an informed decision. How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates.
The position of the Prime Minister will go to a party with the most elected members.
I clearly know that neither Raila nor Ruto are in the work plan on the roadmap for transition as far as the government is concerned.
Informative health discussions, business, farming, Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs, and music bands.
Back to the seasons of my years.
Every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Did you know that your business keeps our economy running?
You need the skill, not the papers.
Always tell yourselves, one day at a time. You can't do everything under one roof.
Over time, I've had to realize that good things take time.